that you've already made some friends. My name is Alicia Wilfert. I'm the founder of Yoke and Abundance. And this, I don't even know how many panels we've had, but we've had a number of panels so far this year. So for those of you that have heard me tell this story again, please forgive me, but I'm going to probably keep telling it over and over and over and over again. So the reason why the Wise Women Wednesday, essentially the blog series started, is because I opened a yoga studio, Greensboro Downtown Yoga, about 5.5 years ago. And when I opened that studio 6 months later, another studio opened in town right down the street. And it seemed like they had a bigger budget, it seemed like they were more well-connected, and I felt fear, and I felt jealousy, and I felt lack. And who wants to feel like a green-eyed monster? I don't know if you've ever felt that feeling. It feels pretty shitty, doesn't it? Like, it doesn't feel very good. And you don't want to feel that way, and you know you don't want to feel that way. And I was rolling around in that feeling for a little while, like a pig in a pig pen, right? And I realized that I was really stuck, and I needed to get unstuck, and I wanted to teach myself a lesson. And I knew that I knew women who were up to really big, beautiful things. And I knew that if I didn't do something to help highlight what those women were doing, that I was just going to actually turn into a big green-eyed monster. And that wouldn't be useful for anyone. So that's where the interview series came from. And it's been so much fun that we started the panel, because I thought those that were reading might want to actually have an opportunity to hear from these women and hear what they're up to and ask questions, which is why you are all here. So I tell this story because I think it's really important to remember that blowing out someone else's candle doesn't make your candle brighter, right? And one candle, the Buddha said, one candle can light 1,000 other candles without diminishing the light of that one candle. So we're gonna get totally grade school. Don't like hide your light under a bushel, right? Shine that light bright so that it can catch fire and be contagious. Robert Ingersoll said, "We rise by lifting others." So I know that when somebody extends a hand up, that makes the whole community better, which is what this is all about, and that's why all of you are here. So thank you so much for being here tonight. We have an incredible lineup of panelists. We even have a repeat panelist tonight, and the reason why we have a repeat panelist is because Jen Brown had a very last-minute emergency. She's fine, but she ended up not being able to make it tonight. So she's fine, but Azalea so kindly at the very, very last minute stepped in for me, and I'm really grateful for that, and Christina Brown and Falon Thomas, and I will have each of these wonderful women introduce themselves and tell us what it is that they do and keeps them busy. Falon, can we start with you?
Sure. Hey, so I'm Falon Thomas, and I own a software development company called Onyx Ocean Technologies. So we build custom software, mobile applications, and websites for small businesses and startups. And we also teach kids how to code between the ages of 8 and 14. And that is me in a nutshell. That's what I do.
Thank you.
My name's Christina Brown, and I own a retail business in Greensboro called Moonbird Soulful Living. I'm also a potter in Greensboro, and my pottery is called Moonbird. And I have my hands in a couple different pots that I'll share as we go along that have come out of my business, leading global retreats and leading some circles out of Moonbird Soulful Living that are really meant to support women coming home to themselves, shining their light, and really embracing who they are.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, I'm Azalea, and I own Emerge Skin Therapy, and we're located here in downtown Greensboro, and we primarily focus on skincare. We do facials and waxing. We also have Reiki energy work, and really focus on helping create connection with our clients and helping them understand or have a better connection with their own skincare needs, their own self-care needs. And we're just really, really good at what we do.
They are really, really good at what they do. So you all kind of touched on what your work is. Falon, can you tell us how you got into the work that you do?
Yeah, so I kind of got here an interesting route. A lot of people think I went to school for computer science, but I didn't. I went for business. But I went to a boot camp for 3 months and just learned how to code, do nothing but coding for 3 months. And also I did like web design and, creating websites for friends and family. And then, I was just volunteering, teaching kids how to code just on my free time. And then I just realized that at a certain point, like, oh, I can make a business out of this. Like, I can just pull together what I'm already doing and just sell the services myself. So that's how that started.
Did you run into any barriers as a female in tech? Do you feel like you've come up against any walls?
Surprisingly not, because I feel like right now is a different time where everybody's like pushing diversity in tech, and they're like kind of pushing having more females and pushing having more minorities. So I feel like this is probably the best time to have made that jump.
That's great.
Yeah. So.
Fantastic. Thank you. Azalea, I don't know your story. How did you get into what you do? Like, I don't know the background, and I'm sure the audience would love to hear the background of what you do as well.
So I'm gonna have to take it way back.
Please.
Because I've been doing what I do for 18 years, and I absolutely love it. But in high school, I was always very artistic, and so, or just growing up in general, I wanted so passionately to be an artist. And then I had this self-limiting belief sneak in, and it was like, you can't be an artist, you can't make money, you're not good enough to do that, you're going to be a struggling waitress, and you're not even a good waitress. I was a horrible waitress. So then I was getting into theater as well, and I loved being on stage, and I loved everything about theater. I loved doing the makeup. I loved doing just the backstage stuff. And at one point I was like, oh, I want to be in theater so bad. I want, even if I'm the guy in the back, like cranking the cloud, that that's what I want to do. I want to be the guy in theater. And then that same, sneaky belief came in, and it was like, you can't be an actress. You can't make money at that. You'll be struggling this and this and that. So I didn't know where to go and what to do, and so I just started out at community college just to get my core classes in. And I still, from the theater side of things, really liked doing makeup, and I liked doing stage makeup, and then I thought maybe I can make a career out of, doing really creative stage makeup. And then once that idea opened up for me, it's like one thing, leads to another, and someone mentioned, in North Carolina, this was 18 years ago, and I'm not even sure exactly how this ties into this now, but they were saying, I think they're pushing for it to be that you have to have a license and to even touch someone's skin, and I don't think all makeup artists have to have a license right now. Anyway, but I was like, oh, okay, well then let me explore that. So I explored aesthetics, and I grew up way out in the country, so I had never even had a brow wax or a bikini wax or anything of that sort. But I thought it could get me in the door for makeup, and then I just discovered the whole skincare side of things, and became really, really good at waxing. And within my first year, I was known, as my own little waxing queen kind of stories, and
you are the bikini waxing queen, right? Is that accurate? Yeah.
Well, my first year, they were my coworkers were nicknaming me Azalea the Bushwhacker. They wanted to make a T-shirt that said, "I survived the Bushwhacker." And so many other, women that had survived the Bushwhacker would know what they were talking about.
I'm so glad I asked you that. Thank you for sharing. Christina, how did you get into pottery? Because Christina has started numerous businesses, or had her hand in many businesses.
Yes.
Just Beat, before that, Springer to Bakery, and then you sold Just Beat to concentrate on pottery.
Correct.
How did you get into pottery?
I took my first ceramics class when I was at UNCG, and it was just for a break on Saturdays, and I took it at the Cultural Arts Center. So if anybody's interested, it's a great place to just play.
Yes.
And so I was not good at all. I have these little funny things that I made and just playing on the wheel, and so I did it then, and then I didn't do it for years after that. I mean, it could have been 10 years. And then I bought the bakery, and I had my first daughter, and sold the bakery to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm a creative, and I'm always coming up with ideas. I'm always wanting to make something, do something new, and always have a project. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna make jewelry. My daughter's at home, I'm gonna make jewelry. So I started making jewelry, and I was like, I'm gonna make my own beads. So then I started making pottery beads. So that's what initially got me into ceramics. And I did that for years, and there was one year we did, it might have been 25 to 30 trade shows selling jewelry. Back then it was ceramic beads, with, you know, one kid in a sling nursing and a 2-year-old running around, and we're setting up tents, and we've got a trailer we're driving behind us, and we're going to like festivals, and our kids are running around. It was really great. I think it was a great way to have our kids get to experience this little hippie lifestyle for a while. And so I did that up until we were tired of doing that. And then that's when I opened Just Be. So I put pottery on the back shelf for a while, and I had Just Be for 6 years, and it was wonderful. I loved it. And then one day I woke up and I knew it was time to do something different. And it was just this internal, it's time to shift. And I didn't dislike Just Be, but I just felt there was something different out there. And actually saying this out loud, it makes me realize, like, I trusted that inner shift. I didn't question it at all. And the next day, I told my husband, I was like, I'm gonna sell Just Be. And he's like, holy shit. I was like, yeah, I am. And he was like, why? I was like, I don't know. I was supposed to sell Just Be. And I told a woman that walked into the store the next day, and she bought it. It was like the plan was laid out, and I can look back at that, actually saying this out loud, yelling out, if I had not listened to that voice, this whole next phase of my life would be different. Because after that, I went back to school for ceramics, and then that led me to, working at home, and then, which now has led me to opening another shop, which is another new part of my career. But, yeah, so,
You just brought up something that actually Katie Marshall was on the podcast this week, and we actually just did the interview last week, so it's really fresh in my mind. But we were talking about listening to the inner callings of the heart. And so what I would love to hear from the other panelists, thank you for bringing this up, is when was a time in your business or in your life, it doesn't have to be business related, that you did or did not, where you heard that inner calling and you either did or did not answer the calling, and what was the outcome? And either Falon or Azalea, I would love to hear from.
Everyone's looking at me, so good. So yeah, I think it actually was starting my business. So I had that idea kind of like floating around for a long time. And I was like, okay, well, I actually don't know how to run a business. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna call it. Like all of these different things, right? Like little things that stops you from taking the plunge. And then I just decided to, I actually meditated and got the name of my business. So that's like an interesting thing.
Can you tell us where the name came from?
So Onyx Ocean Technologies means creating an ocean of opportunity through technology. And I think I got that idea from reading a book, The Blue Ocean Strategy, like a couple weeks before that, and then it just all kind of came together. And then I started it, opened up the business, and then have been learning how to, run and operate a business ever since. And it's all about getting better and better each day, right? So I think that's a huge part of, running a business, starting a business, and just realizing you don't have to know everything the first day. You just don't.
Thank you so much. Azalea, how about you?
I guess it would begin with the start of my business, and starting in a typical day spa where you're on a time crunch and you're getting clients in and out, and never feeling like I had an ample amount of time to give clients the care that I really wanted to, or the opportunity to be able to explore certain product lines or ingredients and, you know, really customize their treatments, or, you know, really offer the type of services that I thought clients deserved rather than just paying high dollar for the ambiance. So just, you know, just following that initial call to go out on my own, and then every step of the way, you know, anytime something comes to me that I want to do different, that's like maybe not been done before or isn't done locally, and you know, bringing energy, healing energy therapy into my business, and right now we're trying to create a new way of doing our consultations so that we look at a lot of new aspects from an energetic kind of point of view, and trying to help figure out what people really, really need, and, you know, not just looking at their lifestyle, diet, ingredients, their, you know, products and things that they're doing, but looking at their energetic needs too, and that's something that I know, you know, isn't being done, but I'm, you know, feeling really, really called to work in a different way.
Yeah. So I can speak to this. So that some of the energy work that Azalea has done, I never would have done had she not, when I'm like laying there on a facial, said, hey, I've been doing X, Y, or Z, and just slowly dripping on me, where she kind of opened the door for me to try something really new that's been really beneficial in my life. So you're doing that really well already. I'm really curious to see what does that look like in when you say that you're changing your consultations. What does that actually look like?
Well, I have a bit more homework to do myself, but I'd like to even incorporate like astrology, you know, looking into different people's signs, and, you know, I have a certain way that I want to do services, and I know like the science behind things, and a certain way that I think, you know, people would receive this better, and I'm realizing, you know, everyone receives, you know, things differently. So, for example, I'm a Leo, and so, you know, I'm like go, 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 on the run, high achiever. So I don't really care about the, you know, the trendy this and that, you know, but I want like a few really good products, but I want to know they're the best. You know, I don't want to just use something because Jennifer Aniston or, you know, the Kardashians are using it, or it's the trendiest thing. Like, I want to know the science behind it and know it's the best. And so that's how I like to be talked to in that way. So like even bringing something like knowing someone's sign and, you know, that kind of thing into the consultation. But yeah, there's so much about the energy you put out into the world and you take in, and, you know, your work environment and everything can affect your skin. So.
Well, thank you all for sharing that. And Christina, you have so many irons in the fire. But the next question that I have is, what's one project that you're working on right now that you're really excited to be working on? Can you share one with us?
Yes. I thought about this question today because I know we talked about this on the podcast. And so I want to answer it in two ways, if that's okay. So the obvious project that people might think I'm the most excited about is my pottery launched on Anthropology last week. And that was my 5-year manifestation goal. 5 years ago I said, I want to manifest this. I want this to happen. And it is 5 years. And it happened, which is wild. And the interesting thing about it, it's not what I'm as excited about. And I tend to be a pretty heartful person, so I can ramble and go all over the place. So it takes me a minute sometimes to get my thoughts together. Because I've changed in 5 years, and what I want is so different now. I love that this is happening. It's amazing. I have this opportunity to like be creative in a different way and reach new audiences. But what I'm most excited about is this investment and study in self-compassion and self-love. And probably that's all combined in living a mindful life. And so what I've launched through Moonbird Soulful Living in the past year, we've started doing moon ceremonies. So it's interesting we're talking about astrology. And I started them, I had never done one. I'm not an astrologer, but I just wanted to manifest community with women, a safe space to be together, to talk, to share, and also to create a space for stillness. So, and I think stillness and mindfulness work together, like on a wheel, where I feel like if I'm still, or if I'm mindful, then I can be still with what comes up for myself. If I'm still, then I can set into the mindfulness of my life. And then what comes up? What do I want? What really makes me feel like I'm shining my light? What makes me feel like shining my light, then I can bless the people in my life. I can be a better mother, or a more present mother, or a good friend, or a compassionate companion. So starting these moon ceremonies has created the space, and I have this group of women that have come that we meet, and we meet twice a month, and doing it in the cycles of the moon just happened to be because it was on the calendar. And I learned about what it means to manifest, what it means to let go, which for me is all wrapped up in what it means to have self-compassion and to also really get in tune with what I'm feeling in my life and what that means about me, where I might need to grow, where I need to let things go, where I need to like put some fire under that, where I need to step out. And so that's what I'm most excited about. I have to make a lot of pottery because I sold so much in 2 days. I'm kind of like, okay, universe, like, now I'm really over here. So I'm kind of sitting with now, how do I be mindful of my time and invest in really what I know is making my heart sing, which is this, but I know this is good for me too. So that's probably what I'm most excited about, is being here and doing this and being with other women and encouraging them to mirroring back for each other, like the beauty of all of us. And that if we all get to see that, the world is going to be a much more amazing, beautiful place. So,
Thank you.
Can I just say that, like, thank you for saying all of that, first of all, but I'm totally inspired by you, and that is also something that I have been wanting to do, is facilitate some little workshops like that, so I'm totally inspired by you, and I'd love to talk to you some more about that.
So Azalea, can you talk to us about a product a project that you are excited to be working on right now?
So honestly, that's one of the things that's been like on the back burner in my thought process is, I used to do, fun little spa events and, just the typical little spa events, but I had stopped doing them because I didn't want to just kind of keep recycling the same, like, let me, talk about the things that I could talk about, in the facial treatment, selling the same products and all of that. But I've just been on my own healing journey that has just been so beautiful. And so like when I talk to you about some services or bring ideas of energy work and different things to you, I'm doing that with my other clients too, and everyone's so intrigued, and I'm wanting to, bring in a network of different women and start doing different type of events where people can come in and, talk about mindfulness and different things. And be able to offer those tools that help them, because ultimately all that stuff affects your skin too, quite honestly. And it's like with acne, you have a lot of just anything, like whether it's you're afraid of aging or you are afraid to be seen because you have acne, like whatever it is, those are things that need to be released and let go of, and recognize, the beauty and light within you, and let that shine, and let that be the beauty that you worry about, and not the trends and all of those things. So anyway, wanting to do some workshops, so I'm totally inspired by that. But just changing how we do consultations and helping people really connect with self-care, because, stress creates inflammation, and inflammation affects every, skin condition that we see. Like everything that someone comes in, for correction, the root cause somewhere in there is inflammation. And, I'm about 60, 70, 80% of the time it's caused by stress. So, people just have no idea what it really is like to practice self-care. So I really, really want to help facilitate that for people.
Thank you. Falon, what is a project that you are excited to be working on right now?
Yeah, so the interesting thing that kind of hit me as I'm like listening to all of us is, that sense of community and bringing that together. So that's exactly what I'm excited about now as well. Just for young entrepreneurs, bringing young entrepreneurs and people who are interested in entrepreneurship together, and just getting them to understand that you need to start, right? Just start on that journey, because it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So the sooner you start, the further you're gonna get, I feel. So yeah, just bringing a community together so I can share what I've learned, and we can go out and find other people, other entrepreneurs who have definitely been down that road and things like that, and just bringing that all together and galvanizing the community in that way. So I think that was a kind of a cool thread between all of us, and just the need for community in different aspects of our life.
Is that something you're working on right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, sure. So it's going to be called Millionaires Before 30. And,
Did y'all know that? Millionaires Before 30.
Yeah, so we're going to be pulling everybody together to talk, to different, people in the community and like get their aspect of it. Like you don't have to be 30, but like if you have any advice that you can give us. And just practical things like, how to set up your company from a legal perspective, how to do that. Where to find space, where to find resources, how to actually, move your company forward and things like that. So yeah, and that kind of started from being called in to talk at North Carolina A&T. They wanted me to talk to their entrepreneurship classes, and they were just so intrigued with, what I was saying and what I was sharing. I kind of realized that there's a need there, like just from, school teaches you things very by the book, but that's not necessarily something that's practical that you can take and use immediately. So just kind of how can we fill that gap?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So this next question kind of has evolved. So it used to be, what's one thing you've done recently that scared you and taken courage, but you're glad you did? But I want to also give you the option to look at that from a different perspective of what's a failure you learned the most from. So you can kind of take that however you want. You can answer this next question around one thing that you've done recently that scared you and taken courage, and you're glad you did it. Or is there a failure? And if you don't like the word failure, you can use something else, but you know what I'm getting at. And I'm going to leave it up to the three of you on who wants to go first.
I'm okay going.
Okay.
Get this out of the way. So the first panel that I spoke on, that for me took a lot of courage, and in that panel, I felt like I never got over the fear, the stage fright, and for me, it was a perceived failure. I really beat myself up after that panel. Like I felt like, why did I say that? Or I didn't say all the things that I wanted to say, and I felt very out of body and just like it was a perceived failure. And I know that that it wasn't a bad interview or whatever, but so what did I learn from my failure? Let me think this through. Well, first of all, I learned that I have a lot of perfectionism that I need to let go of. I learned that it's okay to be a novice. It's okay to be new at something and not get it right the first time. I learned to just, be proud of myself for just showing up. And then even tonight, you looked at me when you said there was an emergency. And I started coming up with all the excuses for how unprepared I was. And yes, of course, I'd love a second chance, but only if I were prepared. And then I was like, you're talking yourself out of this, and you can do this. So just overcame that little fear. So
the perfectionism. Marie Forleo motto says progress, not perfection. And anytime we are trying to do something perfectly, it's like making ourselves try to fail. Like it's a way to hold yourself back, is trying to make something perfect. So just go for it, right? And you just went for it, and you just went for it again tonight. You answered the call more than once. So I think you need to give yourself a major pat on the back. Thank you. Who next?
So yeah, failure is like an interesting topic. So I appreciate you bringing it up. So I don't know if it's our society or what, but like we look really down on failure, and you have to like hide it and like all this stuff. So I think just thinking about failure differently and just seeing it as like the opportunity to learn that it is, I think is really important. So yeah, I mean, I try to embrace failure as much as possible and just try not to care about what other people think about my failure. Because that's really what it is, right? Like being afraid to come up here or do anything like, oh, maybe somebody's not going to like what I say or something like that. Like you caring about what somebody else might be thinking, and then you beat yourself out of an opportunity. And I think it's better to just go for something, you know, and have that opportunity and know whether you could have done it or not, than like live the rest of your life being like, I wonder if that could have been something. So
Has there been something that you've done that you felt like you failed at, or took a misstep, cha-cha, whatever you want to say, and what did you learn from that?
Yeah, so I failed doing public speaking before, right? Like I just got up there and like I totally forgot everything. So I was just like standing there like smiling at the audience, and they're like,
Everyone's worst nightmare.
So like once I got that failure, you know, under my belt, then like it's been easier to talk in front of people. It's like it can't be worse than that.
Is that what you told yourself then to get up the next? Like, how did you make the leap from okay, this happened this time? Like, how did you not get stuck in that? And how were you able to then take the stage the next time?
So I think it's just the way my brain works. I guess I'm more afraid of regretting things than I am afraid of bad things happening. So yeah, I'm just like, okay, I have to get back on the horse. Like, in order to progress in my career, I'm gonna have to do public speaking, so I'm gonna have to get this down. So yeah.
That's great. I think that's a real testament to like who you are, because some people I think would take that and just stay frozen and stuck in that place. And I think it takes a really strong person to be able to say, nope, I'm gonna keep moving forward. So kudos to you.
So before I came here tonight, I took a little quiet time, and the quote that I read said, "There is no failure at being yourself." And that's what I brought here with me tonight, because I was like, okay, I felt like that was okay, you know, because it is too hard to step out there and be yourself and be seen, because it's a vulnerable thing to offer ourselves, because we go home with ourselves, you know, and we all want to be liked and loved. And so I think I feel the same way that you feel about failure, and I don't see it as a failure. I look at things that I have failed at, that wasn't my path. You know, I didn't always feel that way. You know, before I've done a lot of digging and work and really trying to love myself and love myself, not the image of myself, but really like, who am I? The insecurities, the shadows hide, like all of myself. And so now I can look at a failure or a misstep or whatever and say, I don't think that was my path. I didn't listen close enough, or I'm going to move this way next time. But and as for, I guess, like a courageous thing, I feel like sitting every month in the circle with the women, I'm nervous, and I feel vulnerable, and it takes courage every time. But I feel rewarded with my own aha moments that come out of it, my inner growth with friendships and with community. And I feel like we've all risen. Like I know stories of women that I met 6 months ago that I've seen their lives like change, and seeing them shine in new ways, because not because I am there, but because we're all coming to choose to be in space together and support one another and listen to one another. And a lot of times it's just listening, because the wisdom's in here. And just taking the time to be still to hear it is the challenge, because life is like, go on to the next thing. We got this to do, we got that to do. So I think the courage is to slow down and listen and be still, because that takes time from doing the next thing. That I got to get that done today, or tomorrow is going to be this way. And maybe trusting that a way will be made tomorrow because we take time today. So maybe that's the most courageous thing I'm trying to do in my life in general, is to be still and take time. And being with all the women when we get together.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I want to open it up now to all of you. And what questions do all of you have for our wonderful group of panelists today? Yes.
We never got to hear Falon's astrological sign.
I'm a Virgo. So all the Virgos out there.
I got a Virgo box, so
Okay.
it's cool though.
And Christina, what are you?
A Leo.
A Leo, and you are
Also
you said
Leo.
a Leo. Okay,
And
two
I'm
Scorpio, and it's Scorpio season. For the record. What other questions do we have? Katie, and then we'll go there.
If you would talk to us about what it looks like in your head to start these things that you started and you built, and then what it looks like to actually do it. So you had an idea of what your business was going to look like, you started it somehow, and now it's here. What's different between reality versus what you saw in your head?
Thank you, Katie.
So I'll just jump in. Because I have a gazillion ideas, and like I already have like 10 more. So in my head, it looks super exciting, and I'm seeing like 10 years down the road or a month down the road, and I'm seeing like this big picture. And I'm constantly trying to pull myself back in the present moment to like be in it, but I keep going back, keep over here. So that's a lot for me when I'm seeing ideas. What it looks like, because it looks kind of crazy right now, because I've got a pottery business, I've got a retail store, I have a global retreat business that I launched, and I'm holding circle, and I'm going to get training on mindfulness and self-love and meditation. So I'm like, okay, am I doing too much? Am I, but I'm like no, but and I do check myself. If it's not feeding me, I'm gonna like step back. But it's right now, it's like feeling soul-fulfilling. But so gosh, to get to the answer to that question, sometimes it definitely feels way more challenging than how it looks in my head. And I have to be organized, I have to let things go. And I start to put more focus on what is feeding the heart, not what's in the head. I'm moving from the head to the heart. I'm trying to move from the head to the heart all the time. So I'm trying to go that way. So that's probably, I'm trying. But yeah, it can be a lot crazier in reality than the ideas, I guess. But
Thank you.
that was
Absolutely. It helped me a little bit. So that in that idea of like the mindfulness, sometimes like the trying too hard and having all your ideas and you're trying and you're trying to force this thing to happen. And sometimes it's when you take a step back and it is that mindfulness and it's that quiet place, that sometimes the things can just start happening around you. So if you stay heart-centered and you decide what's really important, and just take that first step. Just, get still and do a little, prioritizing, but take that first step. And when you show up for yourself, other people will show up too. Other things will start showing up and aligning for you. Because Because usually when you're in that mode where you're trying to force and make so many things happen and you're in that control mode, you're also probably trying to do it all yourself. In my experience, I couldn't do everything that I've done without a support system. But it was, just putting the idea out there, and then once you align with it, and in my experience, the support will really still show up. You stop trying to force it.
If I can add something, like what you're saying makes total sense to me, because when it aligns and the people show up, that for me is the confirmation to take the next step. And then when the alignment doesn't happen, then I'm like, okay, let me revisit that. This isn't feeling good. It's not moving forward. It is becoming forced. So then it's like, okay, I need to revisit. Is this my heart-centered goal, or is this something I think I want?
I think you should do.
Right.
And just to go off of that, like, I guess I'm more of the type of person that kind of goes with the flow. So like acknowledging that, things have to grow organically. So business is the same way, or life is the same way. You don't know exactly where you're gonna be at the end. So you just make the best decision you can with the knowledge that you have right now. So I try to do that at every step. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Was it Hallie that helped?
Yeah, I have do you offer pottery training classes, or were you saying you can take them?
You can take, like if you want to really learn pottery, go to Art Alliance. There's some great classes there. That's where I took classes for years, before I had even Just Be. But we're going to be doing fun little one-day workshops and hopefully bring some other fun potters in to teach their skills. I know a few. And just for like one day, just to come and play and have fun and leave with stuff. But the Art Alliance is a great resource in town.
Do you have a website, or?
I think it might just be artalliance.com or the Art Alliance downtown. It's right across from Center City Park. And they have like day classes and evening classes. And then it's free studio time, all the glazes. You can use it, all the kilns. It's fabulous.
Thank you. More questions. I know y'all have things burning in your hearts and heads that you want to know.
I have a question. Did you always have goals? When you were young, did you set goals and try to achieve those? And I know, Christina, you said you manifest, being in anthropology, but has that always been your personality, that you had goals all of your life? Or is it something that you sort of acquired as you began to understand where you wanted to be as adults, I guess?
For me, I think the goals has come later. I wasn't asked a lot as a child what I wanted to be. I was told, and it was difficult. And I've had to do a lot of personal discovery, and so I'm digging in now. Like, I want to know myself, all of myself. And I think that's why I'm doing so much and I feel so passionate about it, because, and I don't think there's no blame to be put on my parents for that. I think that maybe they did the best they could. We're all human beings. But it was like, oh, you're a good writer, so you should go to journalism school. Oh my God, that's not me. But then it's like, oh, you're good with people. You should be a physical therapist. I'm like, I will never pass those classes, And I tried those things. It took me 9 years to graduate from college. I graduated from high school in 1990, and I graduated from college in 1999 because I quit, and I went back, and I quit, and I went back because I didn't have a grounded sense of self. So now, as an adult, because, and it really was, and I know you know a little bit of my story, but the death of my father was this pivotal moment in my life, and it was sudden. I lost my brother, and then 2 years later, I lost my dad. And this grief journey led me into digging in to what is life about? There's something here, and I don't want to waste a minute. I want to know, what is it? And I don't know it all. I don't know it. And that's what I love what you said. Like, we don't know. We're in the flow, but I don't want to miss a thing. So,
Thank you. Anybody else want to tackle that question?
I also didn't
really have goals as a child. I wouldn't say I was go with the flow, but I just kind of, let life happen. I was a people pleaser, so I always did what I thought I should do. And similarly, like, oh, you're good at this and this, and you should do this and should do that. I think I worry too much about what I shouldn't be doing. But even now, I'm not really good at goal setting. I get a little help from my friend, Alicia over here. If you've never had a chance to work with her, she's really great at that, and that's why I like to work with her, because I'm not good at goal setting. But that has helped me immensely in my adult life. But I'm less of a goal setter and more of a manifester, and I like to create and manifest things in my life rather than having like a goal sometimes that I'm setting. But I feel like there's a time and a place for both. But it's that the sinking into what feels good. Where's my passion? Like, I might have some goals set out for this thing, but this other thing keeps getting my attention, and it's bringing me so much joy and passion. And if I just stop and put other things on hold and I follow the joy and the passion, then that starts opening doors for me. So I feel like it's more of being in a place where I have space for creation works a little better for me than goal setting sometimes.
Something you just said that we've been kind of throwing out tonight that I think we should dig into a little bit deeper. You said something that I want to manifest. What do you mean by that when you say that? And not just what do you mean by it, but what does manifestation and working towards manifestation in your life look like for you?
So, recognizing a want or a need, and then kind of digging in to discover what is in my way. Am I in my way? Is it, this other thing? And so it's moving around the things that I think are in the way to get into the perfect position to be able to bring that thing that I want into my life. So, I might dig in and realize you're getting in your own way. You're self-sabotaging, and you can't have that because of this self-limiting belief. So forget about that and work on that self-limiting belief. Let's squash that. Let's release that. And then.
And how do you identify when you're getting in your own way? Are you able to do that on your own, or do you use others to help figure that out?
Oh, I have used so many, used and abused so many others. I've gotten to a place where I can do that work with and for myself now. But we all need a little help from our friends. Whether it's just talking it out with a friend, talking it out with a really great life coach.
Thanks.
I just have a lot of mentors. I have a lot of mentors and a lot of co-journeyers, and just finding like-minded people to kind of bounce your ideas off, and talking about it's the people that you can have that heart-centered conversation with, that can probably give you the best insight into that, but also having like a neutral party like yourself, like a life coach, be able to explore those things with you. I mean, like seriously, I got in my own business some things that I was working on. I got so much faster after a 30-minute to an hour session with Alicia. Within weeks, conquered something that I had been like milling over for years, but she was like, what will it take? And she just got me there so quick. Like, if you have not worked with Alicia.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I think that's the best definition I've ever heard of manifestation. I don't know if that was clear or unclear to any of you before, but in the work that I do, I hear people use that term a lot, and I'm a little bit hesitant to use the term myself, manifestation, but the way you just defined it, I think was really beautiful, so thank you very much.
It's more about like accountability and responsibility, and
yeah, thank you. Falan, are you a goal setter? Like, have you been a goal setter in the past?
So I set like long-term goals for myself. I think I'm better with that than like short-term goals. So admittedly, I need to get better with my short-term goals because that'll make sure that my long-term goals aren't so long-term. That make it a little bit short-term. But yeah, so I kind of just made goals for myself. Like when I was younger, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I set that goal for myself. And then it came to pass. And then I was like, okay, well, I want to be an entrepreneur that travels, right? And then this past summer, I, figured out how to travel, to 3 different places for free. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, I was able to do that. So I kind of put what I want out there, and then just go along my journey, and then it kind of comes to pass. So
When you put it out, like when you think of a goal that you want, do you just think about it? Do you write it down? Do you tell a friend? Like, what's the technique that you use?
yeah, I mean, it's mainly in my mind. If somebody asks me directly, I'm more than happy to share it, and I'm sure that helps to solidify it. Because you're like, okay, somebody else knows about this now. That's that. But yeah, I usually keep it in my mind. Maybe like write it down. So yeah, there's different things, but I typically don't go out of my way to make it a technique. It's just I put it in the back of my mind, and then I keep going that way. And that's the beauty of like having what you want, I guess, solidified, because like your daily actions are gonna lead you there anyway. So yeah.
They're gonna be in alignment.
Yeah, in alignment. That's exactly what it's for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What do you think the biggest goal is that you set for yourself that you ended up achieving, that you're most proud of?
Yeah, I think just being an entrepreneur, and then being like a traveling entrepreneur. Yeah, that's probably the biggest one.
Thank
I wish I had an additional one, but
Yeah, that's great.
I'm gonna come up with some more goals tonight.
Oh, we don't quite have time for one more question. I'm sorry. I've got 2 more questions for them before we close up tonight. So, question number 1, and Falon, we'll start with you. What is one piece of advice, if you could go back and sit down your high school self or your college self, that you would like to, if you could sit little Falon down and instill some wisdom in her, what would you want her to know?
Yeah, I would probably just say don't worry about things not happening fast enough. Just like that apprehension of like, oh, this is my goal, I really want it to happen like right now. And just enjoying the journey more, because it is a process and it is a journey, like just like life. So that's probably what I would tell myself to chill out, basically.
Thank you. Christina, how about you?
I would have told myself to practice stillness and mindfulness much earlier than now. And have fun. And travel. A lot. I love to travel.
Thank you.
I also went through a bit of a grief journey in losing one of my parents, so I would go back and start by encouraging my younger self to spend a little bit more time with my parents and stop running away from them so much. The second that I was able to, I hit the ground running, and I didn't look back. And I know they worried so much with all the stuff that I was getting into and barely checking in with them. So I would start there. But also just the simple words for myself that you are enough. And would ask myself to explore that.
And then last question is, how do you live a life of abundance?
Gratitude. Just recognizing what is good in my life, who is good in my life, and acknowledging it, giving praise to the people I love that give me their time, and daily gratitude for everything that I already have. That's so amazing. And just keeping following the joy, following the passion, following what feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, you know, it's that yum or yuck, you know, does it feel yummy? Follow it. If it's yucky, you know, figure out how to get out of that.
Yeah, I've heard there's I think I just got Sharpie like all over my face. There's a writer who says, if it isn't a hell yes, it's a hell no.
I would say gratitude is a big thing, to live a life of abundance. I need to be more mindful of really celebrating, being grateful for things. I would say how I live a life of abundance is I'm trying to, and I'm just trying to live each moment that way, and being present with the moments, and present with myself, and present with people around me, and just trying to be loving and kind, and so I'm trying to live a life of abundance in that way.
Thank you.
So their answers were pretty much spot on. Hey, I didn't go first this time. But yeah, I guess to take that a step further, it's just, you know, developing good habits, and doing, you know, saying good things every day. Like, you know, waking up in the morning, something as simple as, you know, drinking tea every morning and meditating. You know, setting yourself up for the day and doing that all the time, you know, compounds. So that's how I do.
Thank you. So a great big round of applause for our panel. And this panel would not be possible without the ambassadors who get here early and stay a little bit late. So if the ambassadors could stand up for me. Yes. And thank you to every single one of you who came tonight and participated and shared of yourselves. I know that it can be scary to come out to networking events. It can be scary to talk to strangers. So I think you all should kind of give yourself a pat on the back for coming out, for making new friends, and being here. So thank you so much for that. I do want to tell you about two things coming up. I have a Choosing Joy mini retreat on December 8th. It originally came out for December 1st. It is now December 8th. That date will not change. It is December 8th. We already have some folks signed up. Space is limited. It's at my house. It's, I think, 9 a.m. to 1. It's seated yoga, art, journaling, meditation, a healthy lunch. It should be lots of fun. It's just a time to take a pause from the bustle of the holidays and to go inward, and that's going to be really fun. I also have 2 spots left in December for coaching clients. So if you are interested in what I do or wondering if we would be a good fit, we can do they're about a 25-minute to 35-minute discovery call. So just shoot me an email and let me know what it is that you want to work on, and we can set up a time to talk. But thank you so much for coming out, and the next one is, I believe, the first week in December, and I hope to see all of you again next month. Thank you so much for coming.